All right, so we just finished the Outwaters, which is streaming on Screambox, which I actually found out last night is super cheap. It's $5 a month, but if you get 6 months, it's like $2.25 a month or $2.50 a month. So it was like $15 for 6 months. So I just threw them a 6-month subscription because I was like, well, in case something else goes on, and I also like, you know,
Screaming.
screaming, yeah.
Yep.
No, I like supporting horror, right? I like
Of
supporting
course.
horror channels like Shudder and Screambox. So I'm always down to throw the community some money. And when it's that cheap, it's like, what the hell? Why not?
Why not?
And a year is like was super cheap too. It was like $23.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
It was crazy cheap. So anyway, so you can rent this as well without Screambox, but it's like $7. So a month of Screambox is cheaper than renting it on like YouTube or Amazon. Anyway, okay, so this is a found footage film that is set mostly out in the Mojave Desert. These 4 friends go out there to camp and film a music video. And while they're out there, some strange occurrences happen. And we get it on film somewhat, right?
Kind of.
This movie was being compared to Skinamarink, which I think is a really weird comparison. I don't see that at all. I think that because it does go artistic-ish in certain areas, and that it's kind of hard to figure out what we're looking at, probably 20-30% of the movie, especially when it counts, right? The time when you want to see it is when you don't. I would more liken this to found footage. I mean, it's like a Blair Witch Project, right? Where it's like, you never see the witch, but the Blair Witch never is this, like, confusing or muddled with its visuals, right? Like, even if Heather's running and is like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Like, yeah, there's nothing there, but like, I can always tell what's going on in the Blair Witch.
Absolutely. I don't feel like was ever confused in the Blair Witch.
No.
And there's a lot of other found footage that it's the same thing where you're not confused, but maybe not a lot is shown, which is fine. But I was so confused during this whole movie. Like, I don't have a great understanding of what was going on, and it sucks because I feel like I missed it.
We'll throw out our like hypotheses at the very end. It'll be spoilers, but I don't want to spend more than like 30 seconds throwing mine out, and you can throw yours out, and then we'll call it quits. As far as the movie goes, you know, one thing that found footage really needs to have, what makes it work and what makes me fall in love with it, is believable, relatable characters, right? Because it is so attached to reality, right? That's the kind of vibe it's going for. I mean, that's what it has to sell you on. It's found footage. It's really happened. So you want to feel the authenticity, right? But you also want to feel connected to characters, and that's true of any movie. But for some reason, I've always found it to be even more dire in the case of found footage, because found footage typically doesn't have a ton going on, and so the characters are paramount.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know. I didn't connect with anybody really at all during the film. I didn't find them all that interesting. I didn't find them all that relatable. Like, they're normal people, so they're relatable in that way.
Yeah.
But it really did, up until things got crazy, it really did feel like you found someone's home videos that were kind of boring. Or I was just like, oh, okay, they're just putting together a music video, and you just kind of watched your friends' outtakes as they were going towards making a music video. And I just was like, okay, like whatever, as long as this has a payoff. And then the payoff comes, and it's like this super confusing, like messy, muddled thing where you're looking at it and all you're trying to do is figure out what you're looking at and why you're looking at it and like what exactly it's trying to say. Like what is happening in this film in these moments? And should I be scared or should I be confused or what's the emotion I should be feeling right now? And I didn't really, I felt the confusion.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
But I felt mostly bored till we got to the confusing parts. Then I just felt confused.
Right. Yeah, I think, I mean, as you said, the characters in the beginning, like, they felt like real people, for sure. And I liked their dynamic. Like, I think that the brunette and, is his name Robbie? I don't remember. But the main guy that's filming, they have, like, a little, like, dance party thing at their apartment. I don't know. It felt very authentic and genuine, like, friends hanging out. So I appreciated that. But... And I think that the ending has some cool shots in it. Like, there's one particular practical effect that we both liked. I guess it wasn't a practical effect, it was practical prop, like a prop. Okay. That I thought was really cool. But the rest of the time, like the confusing part, I really had no idea what was going on. And I kind of feel like this is a movie that we should have watched with subtitles on the whole time, because there was a lot of like whispered or murmured dialogue that maybe would have given more insight into what was happening. And because I didn't know what was being said and couldn't hear it clearly, I definitely missed out on it. Yeah. But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're somebody who is a found footage fanatic, and are into films that really make you wonder what the hell's going on, then check it out. Otherwise, I definitely if you're not a found footage fan, this is definitely going to be like one of those movies that you're like, you see, this is why I hate found footage.
Yes, for sure.
I can't see anything. You know, when it gets to the good stuff, they cut away or they like look at the ground or whatever. You just see like a lot of bloody limbs.
There's a lot of bloody limbs.
Bloody feet, a lot, like walking.
I think, and I mean, I sort of understand after finishing this, like, why it was being compared to Skinamarink, and it is just because there's not a lot being shown, but as you said, that's pretty standard in found footage in general, because found footage is typically lower budget, so, they don't even have the budget to show you, like, the pizzazz stuff that you might want to see. But there's also a way to, use your audience's imagination, to your advantage, of course. Sure. And I think it was an ambitious film, and I do think that there's talent behind it, but I don't know. I'm just very confused, and I don't like finishing a film and being, like, ultra confused on what was happening. Yeah. I don't mind ambiguity. I love ambiguity. I like thought-provoking stuff, of course, but this is more just like, I feel like I need to fill in the entire plot, almost.
Kind of reminds me a bit of that, like, what was that movie called? They're Watching, or whatever. The kids made.
I like that movie better. Actually.
Sure, but that just a lot of very confusing imagery.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell you're looking at. Sure. You don't know why you're looking at it. Right. But this one never breaks the rules of found footage. That one does. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Also, there's this like hyper focused like light beam in the movie that's like this big, and they're like shining it really far, but like the light stays like super concentrated to like one little, like a little mini spotlight like you would see on a stage. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure how that happened, because if I've ever used a flashlight out in the dark, it like beam spreads, right? Like a shotgun blast or something. Like the further it gets away, the bigger it gets. Right. This thing was like hyper focused, like on one little tiny, and that's like kind of, you'd get it. It almost reminded me of like the opening of a James Bond movie, where you just get the little ball of light in the middle and nothing else can be seen. Yeah. It's just black everywhere else, just this little thing. So you see like a knee maybe or something. You're like, what am I looking at? And there's a good amount of that. Yes. Okay, so watch it or don't. It's up to you. I don't know. I not much of a recommendation, obviously. No. As far as my take on what this even happened, spoilers, but it's gonna be quick spoilers. The only thing I can assume here is they went out into an area that was contaminated with some kind of either radioactive material or whatever. Maybe I missed it, but they did have a sign that said like, off limits, so some kind of contagion or something got into them, and the one dude that we watched filming killed them all.
Yeah.
Cut off their heads, stuck them up on pikes. Now, what are these like little intestine type creatures that are running across the ground like mini fucking tremors?
Dude, I don't know. I like up until basically the end when you see that sign, I was like, I guess this is aliens. That's the only thing I can think of that it would be.
Yeah.
And they're like stuck in a time loop.
We definitely got alien vibes too, for sure.
Yes.
Because that thing in the sky that's like light, but then he's in a plane. At some point,
and he's back at his mom's apartment or house or whatever.
I was like, is this trauma coming up in his mind? Like he's afraid of flying and his mother?
Oh, maybe. I think they were in an area that was contaminated with like some type of hallucinogen because like
or it's off limits because that's like where aliens are or some shit, right? Like there's a movie called Evidence. That's a found footage film, and they enter into an area where there's like activity like that. And Phoenix Forgotten, I think, also does that as well.
The blonde girl makes a comment earlier in the film about how LSD can accumulate in the base of your spine.
Mm-hmm. So if you fall down and hit the base of your spine, it'll release and you'll have a trip.
A flashback. So I don't know.
It's a good call.
I mean, it does feel like he's tripping really hard, but
he tripped really hard, fell on his spine, and killed everybody.
And there was a couple like lines that were really like spooky when he says his head is raining.
Yeah, I like that line.
That type of stuff is unsettling.
Mommy, it's raining red.
Yeah. So, but I don't know what the fuck was happening when it was just like all shots of like the condensed light beam and it's like fucking tentacles and then a boob and then blood and then I'm just like, what's going on? And the creature, the monster that was like braying like one of the donkeys. Mm-hmm. I don't fucking know.
I don't either.
Know. I don't have any answers.
Maybe they're living inside the donkeys. The monsters, the creatures.
Oh, maybe. The little shriekers.
Anyway. I do want to point out that I know that the tremors are called graboids in the movies. I only just said little tremors because I know most people wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about if I said graboids. I know they're graboids. So don't fucking comment.
Little graboids.
Little graboids. I just figured people would be like, what's a graboid? Some people would know, but tremors, people are much more familiar with that title. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the little ones would be ass blasters. All right. Let us know. Bye.
Bye.